Welcome to the channel, everybody. I have to say that this is a little bit of a difficult video for me to create from the standpoint that, you know, I am also a streamer on Whatnot. I love the platform. I've been there for about 3 years now, a little over 3 years, have reached a point where I'm very comfortable with it. I've got a nice little following of regulars that, attend my streams on a regular basis. But let's face it, there is a little bit of a dark side to Whatnot. And typically, what happens, and I hear it all the time in my streams, a new collector, somebody without a lot of experience, somebody who doesn't really know what to look for, they go onto Whatnot, and what happens? Well, for instance, if you go into the coins and bullion section, you see an absolute avalanche of streams that you can choose from. Now, some have flashy gold, some have cool looking slabs, nuggets, different things. Some have more flashy graphics, colorful stuff, welcome in, 100 spot bookmark. So, but the problem is exactly that. There are so many sellers. How do you even know where to start? Okay, so you click on a stream, and then more often than not, what you find out is that it's not a straight auction. It's not a straight sale. What they're doing is they are selling mystery spots. They're selling spots on a wheel. They're selling envelopes with mystery contents. And yes, they're advertising some really nice chase prizes. I mean, if you look at some of these streams, and I'm not going to click on any one in particular because I'm not picking on anybody. They are entitled to do this. This is perfectly legal and not a problem at all on the website. But what I'm saying is, you may be chasing one of these slabs or that nugget or one of these other wonderful prizes that are being advertised as a chaser. The problem is you're not buying that chaser, you're buying a chance to win that chaser. And if you don't win that chaser, well, what do you end up with? Well, you end up with what's referred to as the floor, or a base prize, basically. And what you're winning, you don't always even know what the floor is. And when you get the floor, it's usually something that's not very desirable, that you would not have bid on specifically if you knew that's what you were going to end up with, and you also way overpaid for it. So what happens? You're actually just gambling. And again, there is nothing wrong with that. If you are into the gambling and you love that thrill and you like what that chase prize is and you're willing to spend some money at a chance to win it, then by all means, go into any one of those streams, find one you like. I'm sure they will welcome you in with open arms. Um, if, on the other hand, you're a collector or an investor and you're actually looking to build a collection or an investment, well, do you really want to be chasing a coin or do you want to be buying a coin? All right. Now, the other issue that you will run into all the time, and honestly, I had the same issue when I was just getting started on the platform. Many of these streams that look like this or like this, again, I'm not picking on anybody. I started the same way. You have to start somewhere. But if you're doing a stream like this with one camera, or like this one over here with just one camera, again, there's nothing wrong with that. And if that's all you're able to do, technically, that's fine. But look at that. You're not going to get what I would consider to be a good quality image of whatever coin is up for sale. It's not well lit. It's not focused. They typically show them very quickly. They don't do a close up because they're either not capable of it or they just don't think about it, or they know the coin maybe doesn't measure up and they don't want to give you that close up detail. Another issue is sometimes you get really garbled or muffled audio. Sometimes it's difficult to understand the streamer. Other times you're listening to music that is basically being broadcast through their computer speaker and then being picked up and then degraded essentially through their microphone, and then spit out through the channel. So it's really not a pleasant experience from a listening standpoint. But I think one of the real keys that is a red flag to me and one of my pet peeves, and one of the things that I always make sure to advise new buyers on the platform about, again, if you're interested in the gambling and the excitement angle, great, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. But again, if you're looking to be able to learn something and add a specific coin to your collection, and you want to have an idea of what that coin really looks like, and what that coin might actually grade and what's a reasonable comp on that coin before you're forced to bid on it for sudden death 5-second auctions, well, that's the problem. A lot of these guys and gals, not to pick on anybody in particular again, but a lot of these streamers will run rapid fire auctions. They'll be running an auction literally every 15 to 30 seconds. They run what's called a sudden death auction. So that means no matter how many people bid on that auction, the timer never extends. So if it's a 5 second sudden death in 5 seconds, boom, that's it. Whoever has the highest bid wins that auction. If you set a 5 second auction, which I never do because that's too short, I usually set my auctions at either 10 or 15 seconds. And when you set an auction instead of sudden death, you have another option. And what that means is when somebody bids, you have the option to determine how long the timer gets extended for. So if somebody bids when there's only 1 second left, I can select whether I want to add 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 7, 10 seconds every time somebody makes another bid. So, an auction can last for several seconds beyond whatever the start time is, whereas a sudden death is always over at that moment, period. Now, why do they do that? Well, it kind of couples right into the fact that they don't spend a lot of time showcasing the coin. They are looking at volume. They are looking only at profits. They are not interested in educating you. They are not interested in your knowledge, your comfort level, your level of trust, um, or any of that. What they're looking to do is reach into your wallet and make their sales so that they can make their profit. And again, it's a business. I get it. I got no problem with that. That's why we're all here. But if you are so much in a hurry to make your profit that you can't actually show off your coins in detail, well, I'm sorry. I think you're doing everybody a disservice, including yourself. So, but they do that because what happens is when they do rapid fire auctions, especially sudden death, you don't have the opportunity to really look at the coin. You don't have the opportunity to really evaluate its grade. You don't have time to go look up a reasonable comp before the auction is over and they've already moved on to one or two other auctions. So that's where I find the most frustration and some of my biggest pet peeves on the platform when it comes to new buyers. Okay. You know, as a seller, would I make more money if I decided to put a target on the back of somebody who I know is new and may not have all the experience, may not know what to look out for? Yeah, I would make more money, but that's not my business model. That's not how I want to take care of business. And I don't want to be just another one of those streamers who is the subject of a Reddit stream or a Reddit thread talking about what a scumbag they are, or how little ethical sense they have, or how their business practices really suck. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy you can come back to and have a comfortable experience. Something else you'll notice with a lot of those streams is that they tend to be very high energy. They tend to be rather loud. Sometimes they're even yelling at you. They're always encouraging you to bid, bid, bid. They're always telling you that they're way too low. This is a bargain. Come on, you got to help me out here. Anything they can to intimidate you, guilt you, whatever it takes to make you bid, they're going to do it. And again, as a new buyer, it's easy to get swept up into that craze. It's not always easy to realize it's even happening until you've been swept up in it and paid the price a few times. So, you get swept up in something like that. You buy a coin on a whim that you never really even had a chance to look at or get a comp for, and you get that coin and you realize it looks nothing like what was shown on screen for a few seconds at a time. And the comp is ridiculous because the coin you got isn't worth anything near what you paid for it. Now, is that a pleasant experience for you? No, I don't think so. I sure as hell wouldn't enjoy that experience. I've had it way too many times. Are you going to go back to that streamer feeling good about your purchase and eager to see their next stream and what they have on offer next? Probably not. You're going to be one of those people on Reddit bitching and moaning about some of these morons who are out on the platform giving it a bad name. And that's exactly right. You have every reason to believe that. Now, I've ended my rant. Okay. So that's what I think is wrong with the platform. Now, let's talk about how I am trying to differentiate myself from the pack and what everybody else, not everybody, but a large majority of the sellers on the platform do. As I've explained, most of them have only one camera. Most of them don't have a sophisticated setup. All right. First of all, you are now looking at an aerial view of my whole setup. As you can see, I have several different coin trays that have various different types of inventory. I've even got a bag of Barber half dollars. I can show and showcase several different things all at once just from an overhead view. The other reason I like this is that if I have the overhead view, even as a minimized section, it will always show what's on the table. I'm not switching and playing bait and switch games or doing anything shady. Again, it's all about honesty and transparency in my streams. Now, what else do I have? Well, obviously, you need to have a main camera. So, again, I talk about having multiple cameras. I've got my main table camera at eye level or, camera level to the coin, basically, where I can come in like this and I can zoom all the way in and give you a really beautiful view of that coin. All right. From multiple angles, or I can just, bring it back out here. Then the cool thing is I've also got a digital microscope. It is a high definition scope with an autofocus lens. So let's do this. Let's switch out the Libertad that you're seeing spin for the Barber half dollar I just put up a second ago. And now you can see, obviously, it's also rotating. So you will see it from every angle. You will get good light shown on it, which will show any imperfections or detail flaws or anything else. We will take a look at both sides. Again, in detail, I will point out any flaws or pluses to the coin. Then I've also, as you saw at the beginning, got access to being able to show various websites. Well, one of them is PCGS PhotoGrade. I can go into PhotoGrade and show you that on the obverse of a Barber half dollar, this is what PCGS graded this coin as a good 04. Okay, and you say, well, that's great, but how does that compare to your coin? I can't really see it. Well, you're absolutely right. So what do we do about that? Well, that's when we throw in a combo. Whoops, sorry, this needs to be different size. There we go. So now we throw in the combo view And you can actually compare the PCGS version against my coin on the left. And if I don't think that one is the right mix or the right match, I can keep going. And we'll take a look at a good 0.6. And as you can see, that's a little bit of a closer match. Well, okay, but what does the reverse look like? I'm glad you asked. And how does that match up to the grade? Because the grading on the reverse of these coins is really brutal. So as you can see there, my coin has a fair amount more detail than the PCGS good 4 on the right. But if we go to the good 6, I don't know if mine quite measures up. It's close, but maybe not quite. All right, well, then you say, that's really nice, but, how do we know what that coin might be worth? Well, I'm glad you asked that too, because that's when I can say, all right, let's take this coin back over here, and we can go back over here and actually look up values for a 1907 Philadelphia. Now, if we feel like a 1907, where is it, Philadelphia, if we feel like that was a good 4, we can see that the price guide is $50. Now, do I expect this coin is going to reach $50 on my stream? No. But what that does is it gives you a reasonable comp for a coin that if you were to send it in for grading and it came back a good 4, you would have a $50 coin. So the question is, do you think this coin meets that grade? And therefore, does it meet that comp? Or do you think it's closer to an AG3, which would be a $45 coin? Or is it a fair 2, which would bring it down to 40? Or is it in horrible shape, which would bring it to a 35? I don't think it's a poor one, because a poor 0.1 coin um, looks like that. A poor 0.1 obverse looks like that. And there's no way that my coin is that bad. But this is exactly my point. Okay. So I can bring a coin into my stream, show it off here, put it over here on the camera or on the on the microscope, sorry, change up my view, bring that, whoops, sorry, it's that one, okay? You can still see everything going on there. When I'm done with that, I bring up the grade and the price guide, and I give you an idea of exactly what you're looking at. So the other thing is that may or may not be of interest. From a technical standpoint, like I say, I've got several cameras going. I am using OBS software so that I can change different scenes. I'm using Stream Deck so I can program different buttons. Over 3 years, I've gotten to where my streams are much more um, technical, I guess, much more sophisticated, but I also don't rush. I don't hurry things. For instance, when I find a coin like this, oh my goodness, this is just way too good to not take a hard look at. So, as you can see down in the corner, my microscope goes right here. So you can see me take this coin and go directly to the microscope. And then, let's see, where am I going? There we go. And there, I'm still on my table, but you can see what's on the microscope. There is the full screen view, which, as you can see, is just spectacular. Look at the colors that show up on that coin. Okay, now the best part is I also have the ability to spin that. So you're looking at how beautiful that coin is from every single angle 360-degree view, good lighting, high definition, autofocus microscope that has elevated my stream to an entirely new level. Okay, so to summarize, I do my shows very differently. I do not rush my auctions. I take my time to show you what those coins look like. We go into extensive detail. We grade it to the best of our ability. We get a reasonable comp on it, and we figure out what we want to do before we're even going to auction it. So, um, if you find this type of thing helpful and you would enjoy the opportunity to learn more, or just as importantly, you want somebody that you feel you can trust on Whatnot to buy coins in particular. I mean, let's face it, there are some very high-end things in the marketplace. Okay. Do you really want to buy one from somebody you're not sure you can trust? Or would you rather find somebody who you know you can come back to time and time again because they're reliable, trustworthy, ethical, and more important than anything else, they care about you as a customer and not just my bottom line? Okay. So please, if you've enjoyed the video, please subscribe. Click that notification bell so that you don't miss my upcoming videos. I've got several projects in the works. Head on over to Whatnot. Follow me. I am educational numismatist at Whatnot. Bookmark some of my upcoming shows. I've got some cool stuff coming up. Like I say, I've got some sealed Libertad tubes. I've got two more on the way. So we'd love to see you over there. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you the next time.